in ways of introduction then, so my name is Stephanie Stewart and I am the HR and Operations Coordinator for R3-IOT. Been with the company since November last year. So as Sian mentioned this morning, we are a relatively small team at the moment. We have 9 of us, 4 of which have joined during lockdown. So it has been the past couple of months that we've really kind of ramped up the recruitment. We're based in the city centre of Glasgow, a lovely big office in West George Street. So we're really lucky with our location. Yeah, it's a new office as well. So we kind of moved here January time. So at the moment there's 9 of us, and I'm happy to give an overview of the different kind of roles and stuff we've got at the team just now, if that's something that people would be interested in. If not, I'll hand over to Sian, who's going to kind of an overview of what we're working on just now and some of the kind of key projects that we're working on, potentially give you an idea of the kind of things that you could potentially help get involved in. And then towards the end, we'll kind of move towards the recruitment side of it, and I'll kind of go over some of the roles that we think we're going to be looking to kind of hire in kind of Q4 of this year.
Great, thanks, Steph. So yeah, I'm going to kind of go through what we do here, the problems we try and solve, and then a few of the projects that we're working on at the moment. Yeah, I very much want this to be an informal, open discussion. So if anyone has any questions as we go along, please ask them. And if there's anything we can't answer at this moment in time, because it's more technically aimed, then just we can write it down, we'll get back to you and we'll ask the team. So yeah, please don't be afraid to chip in as and when needed. So yeah, thank you for joining us to hear about R3 today. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but 90% of the planet actually currently has no connectivity, yet loads of organizations need to operate in these areas. So remote businesses which do suffer from large inefficiencies from extracting sensor data, because some of this data can be critical to operations and service delivery. So for example, Loch Fyne algae outbreak kills thousands of farmed salmon. In 2018, there were 308 incidents which killed 3.4 million fish. So I mean, that's your livestock, that's your income. That can be a huge blow to the accounts. And so what we try and do is solve that problem and give them that live sensor data so that they can predict these outbreaks or, prevent anything happening. This is also applicable to the likes of environmental monitoring, so flood monitoring systems. They often work on a 3G, 4G mobile connectivity platform. However, not all of, as we know, not all of the country gets that. So, how do we address that problem? And then there's also the likes of rural healthcare. So all of our lovely Scottish people who live up in the Highlands and Islands, they're miles away from a doctor. They, because of their lack of connectivity and Wi-Fi and things like that, they're unlikely to be able to have access to digital healthcare systems. So how can we try and extend that and help solve that issue? So that's where we come in. So we offer an accessible and dependable way to connect anywhere in the world and get these organizations the information they need to make these decisions and hopefully survive. And actually going through COVID has been an absolute kind of case in point of why connectivity is so important. I mean, the number of times, Zoom calls gone down because your Wi-Fi has gone down. Imagine that on a larger scale and how it's affected businesses. Fish farmers, up in the Highlands out in Walsa, they can't send their guys to go and check the fish. So, what are they going to do? So it's been one good thing to come out of COVID for us is shown that, just that need for total connectivity, which has been fantastic. So just a little bit about how we actually, how our product works. So the R3 solution is pretty simple. So by placing an R3 gateway on site, so it's something a bit similar to your BT or Virgin Media modem, a customer can connect any wireless sensor they like, really, to the gateway. And that gateway then gathers the information and sends it via our R3 service via satellite link. And then that passes that onto our cloud platform, which then does some edge processing and presents the information in a way that's accessible and useful for the end customer. So that can be tailored to, once again, going back to a fish farm, is it the actual fish farmer who's, checking the fish day on day, he's feeding them, so he needs to know oxygen levels and things like that? Or is it actually the owner of the fish farm, and so he just needs the kind of bigger, more strategic view? And so that can be tailored that way. Although I'm sure you can't quite believe it, since all I've talked about is aquaculture and fish farming, it is actually super applicable to loads of other industries. And so some of the ones that we're trying to focus on are on the screen here, and actually we're currently starting some pilots to try and kind of branch into these areas. So obviously we have aquaculture, so we're working with one of the top 5 fish farmers in Scotland, with the looks to branch out to both Norway and Canada and roll our service out through their farms there. Rural healthcare, so we're actually in discussions at the moment with NHS Highlands and Islands, Grampian and Lothian, and we're working with some really key digital healthcare providers to try and reduce that burden on the health services and increase patient autonomy, and deliver those digital services to people in those remote areas. Because I mean, it's fantastic, because if you can do a lot of these things at home, then that means that beds will free up in hospitals, and people who have chronic illnesses can be monitored better and more effectively. So that's been a really exciting project recently, and we're looking to get that pilot up and running soon. And then another pilot, which we're currently just in the process of about to start, is one in renewable energy. So we're working with ORE Catapult and the OWGP, and so that's really to connect offshore wind monitoring. And so we're working with ORE because they have a test turbine off Levenmouth. And so we're doing that in order to show how, connecting through our service can improve your preventative maintenance. So, if you have the bigger picture of how your gearbox is doing, so measuring temperature and vibration, you might be able to fix it before it breaks down. And that's one of the biggest capital costs for a wind farm. You can maximize efficiency of your wind farm by monitoring yaw misalignment, so that you're better aligned to the wind, and so therefore you can increase your energy output. And of course it reduces your operational costs, because things don't need to get fixed as often, and also trying to get physical people out to take these measurements on a wind farm that's out in the sea, it can sometimes be problematic and very weather depending. I say our other biggest project at the moment is working with the European Space Agency. So at the moment we're very much operating, so we have a minimum viable product. It kind of does what it says on the tin, and that's about it. So we're working with the European Space Agency to develop it to a version 2. So we're in the steps of taking our MVP and making it commercially scalable and manufacturable, and just a kind of bit cleaner and nicer and more commercially viable. So that's a really interesting project that we're working on at the moment. And we're actually just in the stages of finalizing the prototype design of our version 2, and we're about to move on to the manufacturing phase and getting in touch with manufacturers to say, how many of these units could you produce and things like that. So that's been a really exciting project for us, especially from a startup point of view, because it's always great to see your baby turn into something that's bigger and better. So that's a kind of high level view of what we do and the areas we're working in at the moment. I don't know so I think I'll hand back to Steph.
Yeah, so that's obviously a really high level overview. Thanks, Sian, for that. Is there any questions so far on any of the kind of project stuff that we just covered before we kind of move on to the kind of more recruitment side? I'm not sure if we can see the questions.
Say no.
No.
Well, if there are, then please, you can get our details off Heather, and you're welcome to get in touch or connect with us on LinkedIn as well, and we'd happily get back to you on anything.
Yeah, we're more than happy to kind of have more informal conversations one-to-one as well, if anyone does want to get in touch for the kind of more project side of it. So I think kind of focusing on obviously what you are probably more interested in is kind of roles that we've got coming up with R3. So at the moment there's 9 of us working in the company just now. We're not actively hiring right now, but we will be looking for a software junior software role and a data scientist coming up for some of the projects that we've got. So we are just kind of looking to get conversations started, interest, and hopefully kind of find someone that will be quite interested in R3. Obviously as a startup kind of environment, so we're looking for someone that's happy to come in and get involved in not just the role that they're applying for, but kind of happy to get involved in other things as well. So it is really a kind of different culture and kind of atmosphere to maybe the kind of big corporations. We want people that are going to come in and quite like-minded individuals, so people that are really keen to kind of grow and develop with the company as well. We're really, really keen in kind of professional development, offering kind of training opportunities, things like that. So just being comfortable with kind of mucking in and open to kind of helping out in other areas. We're not putting any kind of job specs together. We're kind of keeping it open, so you'll see there that we've got our careers email address. So if it is something you'd be quite interested in getting involved in, then please just give us a shout, and I'm more than happy to have a call.
So we've got a couple of questions. So the first one is, do you work to develop client-specific solution in terms of sensing hardware, or is this all outsourced? And in other words, what is the scope of the service you provide? So actually, yes, we do. So we originally started thinking that we just connect off-the-shelf sensors because we can do that. You know, our service is very much a kind of plug and play. So if you have an API platform at the other end, we can connect to that. If you have a sensor you want to use, we can connect to that pretty much. Or we can, we can try and integrate ourselves in. But for aquaculture, we found that actually the off-the-shelf sensors just weren't delivering what the client needed. So we've spent the last couple of months developing our own sensor, which integrates more of the parameters that they want. So some clients don't need that level of kind of niche end sensor, but some of them do. So at the moment, we're being as flexible as we can, because obviously we want to add as much valuable to our clients as possible. And so I suppose, what are the scope of the services you provide? I don't want to say anything, but we kind of like to test what's the art of the possible. And so that's one of the things I've loved about all of our projects, is they're all slightly different. And we do provide different aspects of the value chain within that. So whether it's just the connectivity piece, the end sensor piece, or the whole value chain. The next question, can one voluntary in R3 or job on training?
Don't understand.
Sorry, I don't quite understand.
Don't understand that.
Do you want to put your hands up and come on and ask the question, or do you maybe want to type the question in a bit more detail? If you want to come on, just put your hands up and I'll put you on. Otherwise, if you could just retype the question in a bit more detail, that would be helpful. Right.
Yeah.
I'll bring you on. Hold on. I'll bring you on. Here he comes.
Oh, perfect. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Hi, Choma. Hi there. We can hear you.
Hi.
Yeah, hi there. Please, I'm asking if one can join you to volunteer in your organization or job on training to get more experience.
Oh, perfect. So if you could volunteer.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we could probably explore. Definitely a conversation I'd be more than happy to have with the co-founders to see if it's something they could facilitate. We have offered internships, etc. in the past. It's something that we're currently doing just now with marketing, so there's no reason why we couldn't do this for a more kind of engineering focus or data scientist role. So it's definitely something that we can take away and have a think about. So if you want to drop me an email on the careers email box, we can kind of open a conversation offline and maybe kind of potentially explore the option of doing that, or we'd be more than happy for you to kind of come in and have a chat with us.
Okay, that would be fine then. Thank you.
No worries.
So the next question is, do you anticipate the rollout of Starlink having an impact on your business, positive or otherwise? I'm going to say no, but actually that's one that I'll take to our Chief Technical Officer, because he has a better understanding of those things. So if you're interested in the answer to that, then I can, if you pass on your email address, then I will actually ask the team. But to be honest, with the appetite that people have been showing over the last few months since I joined, I don't think we'll have any worries.
Okay, so the next question, do you have an estimate date for the job start, and which of your projects involve data science work? So I think one of the main projects that we're working towards now is the SIF project, which is the Seafood Innovation Fund. So we're currently undergoing funding for that just now. So that's an ongoing process just now. Potentially in the next month or so, we should get more information on that. So the data scientist role is something that we could probably bring in sooner rather than later. but obviously we want to make sure that we've got enough data and we've got obviously a real role that someone can come in and get their kind of teeth stuck into. It's sorry, losing my words there. It's also a role that we would like someone to be able to come in that feel comfortable kind of working independently, take responsibility of kind of delivering the work, and obviously they'll have a support network with our engineers, and we have a lot of mentors and kind of consultants that are helping us just now. So that I think it's probably worth mentioning that it will be a role that there's not someone that's doing the job just now. So there is someone that will come in and really make it their own role and kind of grow with that. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, like I say, it hopefully be in the next month or so. So if you are interested, then please just send your CV over. We're kind of keeping it an open application just now. And we're hopefully going to be able to get in touch with people that are interested and kind of keep that conversation going. Next question is, do you allow working remotely? Yes, so that's what I was going to touch on towards the end. So obviously, due to coronavirus, I think most companies have kind of opened the options of kind of working from home because we've had to. So we have all been remote working since the beginning of lockdown. All 9 of us have been kind of working from home. We have provided the facilities for everyone to get their laptops at home, computers, desks, all that kind of stuff, all the IT equipment. We're keeping that an option going forward because it's working really well for us. We all communicate via Microsoft Teams, daily stand-up meetings, coffee catch-ups, things like that. It's all virtual, it's all been working well. The reason Sian and I are in the office together is we're starting to prepare for a potential working rota patterning going forward. Some of our engineers have got to be in the office because we have a lab space that they're using. So it's really up to the individual if they want to come into the office or not. We've got all the PPE equipment, coronavirus policy, everything in place. So it is a safe environment if you choose to come into work. But going forward, we will be allowing the option to kind of work remotely. You don't need to be Glasgow based. You can be anywhere.
I mean, I joined the company remotely back in March, the beginning of April. So this is actually only my 3rd time in the office, bar my interview kind of thing. So I mean, I've managed to join the company and work completely remotely up till now. And yeah, we're trying to trial out the kind of half a team coming in, in rotas and things like that. So completely and utterly remotely it's going really well. And
I think obviously, as I said, we are a small team, so we are kind of keen to keep that relationship building with all our team members, etc. So we do like people that are able to kind of come in for, say, if we're having a workshop and things like that. But yeah, going forward, it's working for us and we're kind of reaping the benefit from it. So it's not something that we're going to take away once coronavirus dies down or anything. That'll be an ongoing option when joining the company. So yeah, I don't see any more questions at the moment. I think we're kind of coming to the end of our time now anyway, I think, but I'll hand back to you, Heather, if there's no other questions.
Yes, well, thank you very, very much for your time. It's been really interesting to hear about your organisation